Hi guys, it's Jake here at Canadian Cutting Edge, and you're looking at my TSPROF sharpening system right here. And I've got a couple of features, optional features, accessories that you can get for the system that I want to show to you today. The first one is this clamp with this wheel on the side. It's specifically designed for full flat or full hollow grind blades. So you've got knives where you don't have a flat edge for the clamp to clamp onto. So what are you going to do? You want to get an even clamp. You don't want the blade tilted up or down. Like you don't want the edge to be lower or higher so that when you flip it over, it's off. So you need a new kind of clamp system. TSPROF has got a great clamp for that. Sometimes you also have very odd shaped knives or really weird shaped edges that you need to sharpen. And this system, this plate removable table, is another option that you can get to make it very easy to sharpen odd things or just a different way to sharpen perhaps knives that are too long to clamp on. You can use this system for that, and I'll explain these things to you. Keep watching. Actually, there's several other items that I want to show to you. Very briefly, aluminum blanks. So on this one, I've put on some sticky sandpaper. You can buy sandpaper from them as well. But you can get these aluminum blanks so that if you buy stones that do not have backing on them, a backing like this to get clamped on, and you don't have, a system to use it and you just have the stone itself, you can glue a stone onto one of these. And if you don't want aluminum, you can buy these plexiglass pieces as well and use those for the blanks. And then, well, that's a little bit bigger, but you put it on the system and the clamp holds on to the aluminum, or this case, the plexiglass, and then your stone, goes above there. That's so you can make your own stuff. You can get your own supplies and put your own stuff together that way. Aluminum blanks, plexiglass blanks, those are options that you can get. On your clamp system like this, you've noticed, if you've got a TSPROF or if you've just seen some videos, you've seen the clamp system, you've seen these metal plates here. That's the spring. That takes all of the tension. That's what flexes. That's what wears on this system when you're holding onto knives with the clamp. And you can buy spare springs for them. And you can get heavy duty ones that are a little bit thicker than the ones that come with the system. You can get these larger ones for those, and you can get the smaller ones for these, which I have in this bag right here. So just some options of what you can get. And I just wanted to cover that before I forgot. Now let's get on to what I wanted to do. The main thing. Here's a knife. This is a Y-Start. This is a full flat grind knife. And what I used to have to do is put it on a clamp like this, and I would clamp it on. But invariably, we've got one thickness here, and then it automatically or immediately starts going thinner. Well, this is designed to clamp on something flat. Well, how do I get it to stop either, going on like this, which means it's one angle when it's that way, and then when I turn it over, now the knife is on a different angle. That's no good. So what I was doing was I was putting tape along this edge, just a little bit off the spine, another layer, another layer, another layer, trying to build up an area on both sides of the knife so that it would be just as thick, a 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch down than it was at the edge, so that I could clamp on it and it would be flat and it would stay in the middle. Whoa, talk about an exercise of frustration and an exercise that ends up not being precise. So you can buy these conical clamps. The conical clamps come, you can get them as a pair. So I've got 2 of them on here, and they look like this, and they're very easy to use. Let's, oh, I forgot the back piece. So this is what I was looking for back here. You put that in there, and you can tighten it up, and now it's tight. So I've got these 2 clamps. Now I can put the knife in there, and let's turn it on an angle so you can see it. as long as it's open far enough. Let me double check that. Okay, so you put them in and you take the front screw, which is an Allen, and let me move that a bit. And the bottom one, you put it on just a little bit, just so that it's barely touching and just tiny bit tight. Then you take these wheels, and there's a cone in here. You can see the shape of that. It's wider, and then it goes narrower as it goes down. Maybe I can zoom in. So you can see the shape of this here. See how it's a cone, wider, and then it goes narrower. So when it's tightening, it's starting to spread the clamp arms. Boy, I'm having a tough time with words today. I am having a bad pain day, but spreads them apart, and then the clamp starts to clamp together at the tip. And so it clamps tighter at the tip, and as you can see right here, see how narrow this is right here, that space, and see how wide that space is there? That's because it's going on an angle to clamp on. Very, very good system. And that's all I need to show you about these. So let's zoom that back out again. It's a very good clamping system, and it works, just totally fine. I don't need to show you myself sharpening stuff. You've seen me sharpen things like crazy. You'd sharpen exactly like you do any other sharpening, so you can watch my other video on how to actually sharpen. So that's the conical clamps. So let's take that off. By the way, they're constantly improving the base plate that goes onto the arm here. The original ones that I got were these metal pieces, and now I've got this one, and they come in various thicknesses depending on the application, but this is one solid piece of aluminum, whereas this was a piece of steel, and it was just easier to do maintenance with this one. Like if you're going to replace these springs with this kind, it's much easier to do maintenance than with this one, because in here, once you take the this out, now you've got a floating nut right there. And so it's just a little more complicated to use. But one of the best things about TSPROF is that they're constantly doing improvements, constantly doing updates and upgrades. And that's what you've got right here. And here's the plate. And the plate is a really cool little piece of kit. I'm being a little bit dyslexic today, I think. It's all one piece here. It's designed just to slip on there like that. Just slips on, and then you screw it tight, and it's sitting on there. So that's the easy part. But I want to show you a little bit more close up how this works. And so what I'm going to do for this part is I'm going to clear off this table, and you can just pretend that it's mounted on here. And I'm going to have it on this tabletop because I want to show you what happens on this business end right here. And it'll just be easier to do when I get rid of a lot of these other visual distractions, because you've got loads of different options for this system. And I'm going to show that to you right now in the blink of an eye. Okay, so the way this works is I've got this table here, and this end, clamps onto that rotating piece. But you don't use this in a rotating function. You just use this table in this side upright. If you clamp a knife onto here, don't rotate it and try to sharpen the other side. You're going to be sharpening along this side of aluminum, and that's not very good. And that's because you're off center. Like this is the center line, and all the other clamps keep the cutting edge in line with the center line here. And this system keeps it above that. So what you have to do is you have to undo, if you've clamped a knife on, you have to undo it, take the knife off, and then reposition it on the other side. What I like to tell people what this is this is basically the Edge Pro system for the TSPROF. And you can do that very, very easily on here, but it's even better than the Edge Pro because you have the option of either making this an edge that you butt the blade onto, or you can loosen up these screws and you can clamp something down, whatever you're sharpening. It doesn't have to be a knife. And so you've got that option as well. And let's get one prepared here to show you and loosen this up a fair bit. There we go. The other advantage is, look how thick of something you can put in there. You can put something, 5, 6, 7 millimeters thick, maybe even more. I don't have anything that thick, but I put my thickest knife in here, no problem. And you just, slide it on there, and then you tighten it down. And I need to use these short, I don't have a little stubby screwdriver for this, so it's the Allen key that I'm using right here to tighten it down. And that holds it in place, and now I can sharpen this edge. Come on, focus. Come on, focus. There we go. Sorry, my camera wasn't focusing for a second. And so then this clamp holds it down in place, and then you can go ahead and sharpen this edge, loosen it up, turn it over. And so it's great. This plate is really good for doing the huge stuff. And it's especially really good when you don't clamp it on, when you just butt the edge to these clamps. Another thing that you can do with this, though, is instead of just butting it to the edge of that, is, and I've done this in the past before as well, is I clamp, a piece of hardwood on here, and I can make it whatever length I want. And I've got a nice piece. I've misplaced it now. It's about 6 inches long, about 15 centimeters long, and I clamp that in place. And then I can butt the end of my knife against that and hold it in place, and I move the knife just like you do on an Edge Pro. Beautiful, beautiful system. So to mitigate scratching and stuff, you can put a little bit of masking tape on here, and then of course you take it off and move it in case you need to move these. But this clamp system is so very simple that you can put it wherever you want, and it just is a very simple lever, and you tighten down the lever and it holds whatever you want in place. Ingenious, very, very simple thing, and it just works so very well. Very often the simplest things are the best things available. And so this table is something that's very useful for odd shaped knives or things that aren't knives that you want to sharpen. And so if you're looking for that, get yourself one of these. Now, what are the prices for these parts? But these conical clamps, a set of 2 of these is $70 US, and you can get them directly from TSPROF. I think they're worth every penny. And this table here is $50 US, and I think it's worth every penny as well. TSPROF is going constantly in development. They're always working to make things better and work easier. It's one of the reasons why it still is, the top sharpening system in my opinion. And the K02 is a great system. So many options, so many variations, so many extra features. You saw my other video, and I'll put a link to it at the end in case you didn't, about the scissor sharpening adapter. That works great. And there's going to be more things coming out for me to show you about the TSPROF in the future. I've got some stones that they sell that I want to share with you. And so that'll be a video that comes out. I don't know the definition of soon. I like to use the word soon, and then sometimes it ends up taking more than a month. Like this video is more than a month late. Sorry about that, guys. But thank you so much for watching. Thanks for liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. You'll probably be seeing this video on Saturday, or Sunday, I should say. And then on May 12th, my son's getting married. So the next 2 weeks from the time you see this, if you see this the first day it comes out, over the next 2 weeks, I will have a minimum number of videos coming out. And that's just because I'm going to be so super busy with family coming in from out of country and from the other side of the country. Remember, guys, always cut towards your chum and not your thumb.